What's up guys, Lomax here, and welcome back to another Battleborn character guide. This one will be featuring Kelvin. Kelvin is the Eldrid Defender, and he is a melee-based tanky ice monster. If you like playing utility-based tanks, this is the guy for you. So let's go ahead and get into his abilities. Kelvin's passive Permafrost is going to give him a temporary shield anytime he completes a skill. Now it's important to note that Kelvin doesn't naturally have a shield, so this is really the only way you can get a shield without any outside help.
Power behind this, fellows!
Kelvin's weapons are his fists. He has two melee attacks, as most melee characters in this game tend to have. The first, his primary attack, is a melee strike in which he punches his target. His secondary is a ground pound that deals a little less damage, but is an AoE attack that also has a knockback effect. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kelvin's skills now. His first skill, Sublimate, is going to transform him into a cloud of air, during which he's going to receive an increase in his movement speed. Any enemies he touches while in Sublimate will take damage to be stunned for 1.5 seconds. Kelvin's second skill, Chomp, is going to allow him to bite an enemy, dealing a flat base damage plus 15% of the target's maximum health. Now this is going to be good against tankier enemies because you're going to be doing the roughly the same effective health percentage against any enemy. So definitely going to be better against tanky enemies because it's a max health percentage. It also has a pretty short cooldown. Now the other interesting thing about the skill is that if you kill a target with it, you're going to gain a stack of permanent health, and I believe it's 75 health. So basically just keep killing things with this skill and you're going to be pretty tanky. And finally we come to Kelvin's ultimate Ice Wall. Now this one's pretty self-explanatory. After a short 1-second delay, Kelvin puts up an Ice Wall that lasts for 7 seconds and will stun any nearby enemies and block movement through the path which you set the wall. So let's get into Kelvin's Helix Tree. At level 1, we'll get a choice between the Big Chill and Cold Clock. The Big Chill is going to give Kelvin an increase in health regeneration. Having health regen is going to be nice considering Kelvin doesn't have a natural shield. Cold Clock is going to give every 4th melee attack an ability to slow. Now you don't have to connect on 4 straight punches for this to work, but you also don't want to miss that 4th punch, otherwise you have to do another 4 to get the slow back. Personally, I'm going to take the health regen at level 1. Health regen is always nice to have, and there are many more slows available in Kelvin's kit, and this one isn't that great in my opinion. At level 2, we're going to get Quick Bite and Strong Wind. Quick Bite is going to give Kelvin a 2-second movement speed bonus whenever he damages an enemy with Chomp. Now this skill can help you stick to an enemy if they try and escape because you'll be moving faster if you can land a Chomp. The only thing is that you ideally want to save your Chomp as a finishing move if you can to gain a health stack, so this is just something to keep in mind. I don't think this ability is super useful in PvE because movement speed shouldn't be as high a priority as survival. And Strong Wind will increase the bonus shield strength from Permafrost whenever Kelvin activates Sublimate. Now this skill will increase your survival by giving you a larger shield, albeit not by much. The Permafrost shield bonus isn't that strong, and taking Strong Wind will only provide you with half of that. At this level, I recommend taking Quick Bite for the movement speed with Chomp, because in addition to all of the above, you can also Chomp much more frequently than you can use Sublimate. At level 3, we're going to get 2 skills that are going to buff Sublimate: Swelling Wind and Ice Maker. Swelling Wind is going to increase Kelvin's movement speed the longer he stays in Sublimate. This is going to greatly increase your movement speed as you already get a movement speed increase from using Sublimate. With Ice Maker, Kelvin leaves an icy trail behind him that slows enemies for 3 seconds. If Sublimate didn't have a stun, then I would take this skill, but I'm not a fan of replacing a stun with a slow, even if the slow is longer than the stun. So I'm going to take Swelling Wind at level 3 simply for the fact that I want to keep the stun. At level 4, we're going to get 2 skills that buff Chomp: Mastication Restoration and Slow Food. With Mastication Restoration, we're going to get a lifesteal bonus on Chomp, and a pretty significant one at that. We're nearly getting a quarter of the damage we deal with Chomp back as health. Now, this skill really depends on the enemy you're facing, as if they don't have a lot of health, you won't be getting much back. Slow Food can actually work well with the right build. It gives a big increase to Chomp's damage against slowed enemies, and if you're going to take this skill, you should also take some of the other skills that give slows to make sure you can slow your enemies and maximize your damage with this skill. At level 5, we're going to get 2 skills that buff Permafrost: Ice 6 and Blue Ice. Now, both of these skills are going to do very similar things. Ice 6 will increase Permafrost shield strength, and Blue Ice will provide damage reduction while Permafrost is active. The better skill here, after doing the math, is going to be Blue Ice, unless my math is wrong, which is possible. At level 6, we're going to get Wind Chill, which will buff Sublimate, and Consume, which will buff Chomp and Sublimate. Wind Chill is going to allow Kelvin to stay in his Sublimate form longer when he damages an enemy with it. This can be useful if you need an extra second or two to land a stun on someone. You can hit a closer enemy with it and add some extra time. With Consume, killing an enemy with Chomp is going to reduce the cooldown on Sublimate. This can be a nice skill as well, as the cooldown on Sublimate can be quite long. I don't think either skill here really trumps the other, so take whatever you like. At level 7, our 2 skills to choose from will be Groupthink and Icy Force. Groupthink is going to give Kelvin health regeneration whenever he is near an ally. Now, this skill is going to be useless if you're playing solo, and is completely dependent on you being around your team in co-op. And for only 7 health regen per second, I don't see this being that great of a skill. Now, Icy Force is going to increase the knockback from Kelvin's secondary melee attack. This skill can be good if you're running low on health and you have an enemy on top of you. It can save your ass by creating distance between you and your attacker. So I'd have to recommend this skill over Groupthink. At level 8, we're going to get another 2 skills that will buff Sublimate: Hibernation and Windy Season. Hibernation is going to increase Kelvin's health regen while he is in Sublimate. Now, I will never object to health regen, but you are not getting that much back given that you aren't in Sublimate for that long. And Windy Season is going to decrease Sublimate's cooldown by 20%, or about 4 seconds. So you're still dealing with a long cooldown on Sublimate with or without this skill. Neither skill seems really impressive to me, but I'd probably lean towards Windy Season because it will allow for more frequent stuns. At level 9, we're going to get 2 more skills that are going to buff Chomp: Overeater and Sawtooth. Overeater is going to reduce the cooldown time of Chomp by 20%, taking it from a 5-second cooldown to a 4-second cooldown. Not a huge difference, but more chomping is never a bad thing. And Sawtooth is going to increase Chomp's maximum health bonus damage by 15%, which will bring it up to just over 17% when all the numbers have been crunched. I think Overeater is going to be the better of the two because more Chomps means more health. Sawtooth's increase in damage isn't huge, so I'll tend to avoid it. And finally, at level 10, we have 2 skills that will buff our ultimate Ice Wall. They are Walled In and Absolute Zero. Walled In is going to reduce Ice Wall's cooldown by that 20% again, whereas Absolute Zero is going to slow enemies within close range of an Ice Wall. I like Absolute Zero here because now you're adding a slow to the stun that Ice Wall gives, making it a huge area that you can trap your enemies in. The only tricky part of this skill is the 1-second delay before your Ice Wall forms, so you have to time it right to get a good stun-slow combo. And that's gonna do it for Kelvin, guys. He's not the most flashy character in terms of his skills or his Helix Tree, but he can be a load of fun if played properly. As always, feel free to rate and or comment down below if you have anything you wish to share. Feel free to subscribe as well to see future videos. Now I'll catch you all in the next one.